Well, look who I ran into. It's Bobby Gurr. How you doing, Bobby?
Doing absolutely fine. I'm out here enjoying a beautiful monorail. I don't have to ride it. I get to look at it.
Yeah.
Another guy designed it. Scotty Drake did it. Absolutely beautiful. So I love watching it go by. That's why I'm standing here.
You're talking about those beautiful Mark 7s now, huh?
Oh, the Mark 7s. Yes, and I'm standing here. You know, I got the park to myself. Guess who walks up? Electric Mike.
It was bound to happen. You know, wherever there are churros, there's Electric Mike. Right. So,
Absolutely.
So the news is that you have gotten into the writing business. Well, you've written books before, right?
Oh yeah, I wrote books when I was 20 years old, all about the automotive industry, long before I went to work there. I was qualified because I'd gone to school, so I could write about an industry that I was going to work in.
Of course. And Bob has a brand new book out. This is kind of an autobiography, isn't that right?
Well, I wouldn't call it an autobiography, even though I wrote the whole thing. I'm publishing the whole thing. But let's just say this is a group of stories basically about how do people work, how do things get done, how to take people behind the scenes and explain what's going on. If you call that an autobiography, it's only because I was there when all this stuff was going on.
So, well, I think that angle is actually more interesting because people are curious about, you know, when things were being built, when the monorail was being built in 1958 and in 1959, what was going on? You know, what's the real story behind these things? And because you were there, you can share those kinds of things, right?
Well, this book, which is going to be called Design Just for Fun. Remember, it's all about Disneyland, Universal Studios, big shows in Las Vegas, music for Michael Jackson, flying saucers with the Olympics over Los Angeles. It's going to talk about more than Disneyland. It's going to look at behind the scenes on all kinds of projects, specifically projects that were very, very risky at the time to do. Now, basically, if somebody had never done it and somebody wanted it done and everybody else was frightened, I took the job. In hindsight now, we did the job, and of course some of those are a long time ago. People still remember them, particularly like the flying saucer that flew over the Olympics at Los Angeles in 1984.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and the sinking ship in Las Vegas, as well as what you already know about Disneyland. People always say, how did you do it? Well, there's an awful lot to how did you do it. We have a band coming here. Oh, boy!
In just half an hour, me and my pals are gonna bring a big to your feet.
Mickey's coming in a half hour!
Oh my God! That sounds safe. It's gonna be great. See you soon.
So, you can tell right where we're at. Mickey Mouse is getting ready to put on his parade. His show is coming. And that was our full intro. Now we can really talk about the book.
Oh, I just snorted. Sorry. Yeah. So.
It's all right.
Oh, yeah. Just. I actually wore this. I wore this.
You're used to him, and I'm getting used to him. So don't worry about it.
We've made stuff in the kitchen together. You should know that I'm a mess by now. Yeah, I wore my Wet Imagineering shirt for you today. Okay, let's pick it up.
Did you know what? Come back in the sun, sir. Did you know what that stands for? Wild Engineering Done.
Wild Engineering Done.
Yes, you did know. That is the secret word.
Wow. Okay.
All right, now back to the... Aren't you going to ask about my book?
Oh, you did a book?
Yes, I'm doing a book. You want to know the...
Who the hell are you, anyway?
You want to know... I'm the autobiographer.
That's it.
What is
Bob Gurr? Okay.
All right.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, we're back on track.
That's my Formica tie. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, for the folks who really want to know all these behind the scenes, the secrets of how it's done, who are all the people that were really involved, you know, besides myself, that was kind of leading the whole parade, so to speak.
Yeah.
You buy this book. It's $58.95, and it's on pre-sale now. You can go to bobgurr.com and buy this book. Make sure that if you order early, this is going to be a limited edition, collector's edition. It'll have a certificate of authenticity pasted into the book.
Nice.
Issue of 1,000, and all the first 1,000, they're all going to be autographed. So the way to get that, again, is go to bobgurr.com. Now we just had a monorail eclipse. You'll notice something that's very interesting about Southern California. The sun turns on and off, and we do this with monorail shading. That's the way it's done here.
That's right. So if you want to get one of the low numbers, I think my number was 119. I got number 119 out of the limited edition. So if you want one of those lower numbers, you better get on the stick because they're going fast.
Yeah, it works real easy. You can't get a name easier than bobgurr.com. You go there, you click on it, and of course, all you have to do is just send money, and it'll give you an immediate confirmation, and it'll send me your exact shipping address, so you actually get the book when it comes out next spring.
What is it, $58.95?
$58.95.
$58.95 for this book. It's hardcover. It's beautiful with full color pictures, and these pictures are things that you've never seen. These are Bob's personal photos, and let's take a look at this one. Now, who are these three guys? Oh my!
Oh, those are the hippies.
They look like kind of beatnik characters.
No,
or something.
This is 1968. Actually, this is upper management
really?
at Disney. Yes, because if you look really closely, the guy on the left is. He looks a little bit like me. Actually, he was a hippie at the time.
Is he wearing an ankh?
Yes, he's wearing the ankh, because if you wear an ankh, that means all your engineering is going to be completely perfect. So you never design without having the ankh. You know, the Egyptians used this.
Yeah, of course.
You go look at the pyramids. They still stay there. They don't fall down. Of course, they're built like that, so they can't fall down. But the designers all wore an ankh, so I always wore the ankh.
There you go.
Now, the next guy, he's a weirdo. You see, he's wearing... No, actually, he's wearing a tie.
Yeah.
But he makes up for it because he has a banjo. Now, he's the general manager. That was Dave Gangenbach, general manager of the entire monorail project in 1967-68, and in fact, all the way into the Florida monorail in 1971.
Wow.
Now, the guy to his right, this is the guy, I think he came from Kentucky. He was in the bourbon business. And you notice he doesn't have much in the way of teeth, and he's got a nice hat. He is in charge of all maintenance. Now, this means that when we have a Disneyland vehicle, we have the absolute top people maintaining all our machinery. It has to be done absolutely precise. And this man goes around in costume, and it's kind of a subterfuge, because he can walk around in the shop to see if everything's okay, and nobody will pay attention because it looks like some guy from the bourbon mill that just kind of walked in here. But secretly, he's in charge. Now that's his secret outfit. Most people didn't know that, and that was Ken Kohler. He used to race for NASCAR. He was a race driver. In fact, he was our first test driver for the Viewliner train. If anybody remembers the little Viewliner. And then, of course, he was the very first manager for Monorail. And I taught him how to drive, and he taught everybody else how to drive. So everything everybody ever needed to know, Ken and I did the whole thing. But don't let it fool you that we look like hippies. Well, that is our secret uniform, because we were doing a lot of testing here with a vehicle that had no body on it, and had a Swiss flag up in the front. And people said, "What on earth is that kind of ratty-looking thing?" So we made sure we were ratty-looking, just as bad as the vehicle. And the reason for that was, we had to test our test train here for 12,000 miles, 24 hours a day, and that's a long job we had to get people to drive it in with the regular guest traffic here. But guess what happened? We had 3 shifts, and the midnight shift's the graveyard shift. The very first week we started doing the driving, the company came to me and they said, "Bobby, you designed it, you drive it on the graveyard shift." So for about the first week, I had to drive to Disneyland and be down here ready to drive at midnight till 8 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
You know how cold it is driving a train with nobody in the middle of the night? It made me look like a hippie.
Yeah, just cruising along. It
was really funny. If you want to drive around Disneyland at night, you don't see any people. There's no guests.
Hey, look who's here.
But what you saw, oh, there we go. There's the monorail again.
It's your daddy's right here.
Yeah, all right. So anyway, we see fire hoses washing down all the sidewalks and all the area where people walk, and we see gardeners working on everything at night. people changing light bulbs. This is a show that the guests never see in the daylight, but if you're a monorail driver, forced to drive the graveyard shift, and you're up on the monorail beam, you see Disneyland in an entirely different, entirely different way. So, test driving as a hippie did have benefits in those days.
Very cool. I can imagine taking some of those banking turns, you know, with no body must have been kind of a rush, huh?
Oh, no. There's nobody. Well, actually, it had a cab. It was a wooden cab.
Okay.
Made out of wood. I mean, real wood. And it had a little windshield on it, but still the wind blew right through it. But I had a seat belt, so I couldn't really fall out of it. But it's kind of boring, you know, but you had to drive. But you can't go very fast because it goes only at its programmed speed. I would have loved to go really fast around there in the middle of the night, see how fast I get it to go. But we had a standard profile. Now here comes the monorail again. Look, there it goes, just like that. And you hear the monorail honk. Now that's what's known as a monorail eclipse. It happens every 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, I had no idea that was going on. But you should know, yeah. So there you go. You just told us a story about the monorail that I'd never heard. You've been holding a lot of this stuff back because you've been on tons of interviews, you know, Modern Marvels, Discovery Channel, you know. We see you, you know, doing these little 15 or 20 second bites, you know, on these news reports, but we don't get the real story. And this is a chance for you to read some of the inside stuff that, you know, you've probably never told to anybody.
Oh,
very few people.
Well, yes, there's stories that people have never heard. There's a very key thing about the book is, let's say there's 48 years of engineering, all of these projects. And you got to remember, folks, this was like $42 million worth of projects I worked on. But I don't have an engineering degree. Nobody ever asked, so don't tell anybody. But it all worked, and obviously it has turned into classics. So at the end of 48 years, people would say, well, did you learn anything? What have you learned? What can you share about design and engineering for Disneyland and theme parks and Las Vegas? Well, this book, you buy this book, you're going to find out that we start with what it was like when I was young, did all these projects, and then at the end of all this, what did we learn and how can we share that, and how will that help parents, particularly if a parent has a child that's kind of rambunctious and wants to do his own thing and you have an awful time getting him to stay in the box.
Right.
My big warning is to parents, do not try to force the child into the box the career that you want. Allow that child to flourish and become the career seeker that they want to do, because it's going to pay off. Simple thing.
Yeah.
People tried to change my mind when I was young. They tried to get me to follow the school curriculum. Well, it didn't work out because, here's another secret.
Okay.
I was expelled from 3 schools, only 3 schools, and I was ultimately sent to military academy as incorrigible. Now, if you talk to some of my teachers and would say, oh, well, that was a future Disney legend you just threw out of your school, well, I could appreciate why they would say, well, no way, that kid's not going to go anywhere. Well, I assure you, there's an interesting path from incorrigible in the military academy to having your window on Main Street being a Disney legend. That's a tale that doesn't sound like it makes any sense because it has 2 bookends that don't add up. But if you read this book, there's a lot that you're going to learn, and you'll see why you can help your children go down the career path that they're looking at, because they'll have the passion to go do only the things they want to do, and you got to help them do it. And you can read about it.
Wow, that's deep, Bob. I mean, I've heard about a lot of kids that are very, very bright, and they act out in class because they're bored. You know, they're way above the, you know, the mean level of students, and so they end up being troublesome, and like you were. And so that's good advice. You know, challenge your child, let them, you know, excel at what they want to do. And you know, everybody's good at something. That's the funny thing. One person may be great at fixing a transmission. One may be good at, you know, at writing music for a symphony orchestra. 2 different things, but everybody's got their own talent. And I think Walt recognized that about a lot of people as well.
Why do you think Walt hired the kind of people he did? He had a sense of what people might do, even though they've never done it, had never been trained for that.
That's right. I was talking to Ex Atencio, and you know, he had been in animation, and Walt said, "Hey, I want you to write a script for Pirates of the Caribbean." He says, "You know, I'm not a writer." And he goes, "I think you can do it. I want you to try." And he was probably constantly pushing a lot of people to try new things, and if he spotted a talent in someone, you know, it would pay off.
Oh, you notice that monorail changed colors. See, the later in the day, the colors changed. It's very interesting.
Wow, it was red a minute ago, and now it's orange.
Right. Well, orange for sunset. That's how we do it here.
And then when it's twilight, it becomes purple.
Exactly, you got it. You've seen this phenomenon.
I'm figuring this out.
That's in between the eclipses that we have here. No, Walt, you're completely right about Walt, because as an example, I was a car designer. I designed things with wheels. He walks up and he says, "I want you to design the President of the United States," which is an animated figure.
What?
Well, yes. The answer is what? Oh, it's just another machine. It just doesn't have wheels. And we approach it in exactly the same way. Never been done. Find out what we need to do, and we just go do it. Yep. Those are the kind of stories that are in this book, and you'll learn all those stories.
That's right. And you know, you take a challenge like Lincoln's body, and we've talked about this before. You saw Lincoln's body as an airplane fuselage from being exposed to a glider design. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, it wasn't like a humanoid figure. You saw it as a tube construction, and you know, figured out how to do it. And that robot is just amazing.
There are other stories in the book too. Remember what we talked about earlier, that it's not just Disneyland. We actually did designs for Universal Studios. Some of you remember the old King Kong 30-foot tall animated figure, and Universal Studios was there for 22 years before there was a disastrous fire in 1968, and King Kong burned up. But it's a good thing, because you know, if you're going to go out, you want to go out at the top, and you want to go out in a blaze of glory. And I don't know who set the thing on fire, but I would say if you want to really be remembered in a blaze of glory, go out in a big fire. And that's what King Kong did. But it was a really neat machine inside. Again, made out of you know, tubular steel, aircraft bearings. Very interesting structure inside. In fact, King Kong was so big inside, when we were testing it, I had as many as 9 people riding on it on the inside while we were animating it. And you want to get a double E ticket. I took a famous actor one time up in the head during a show when the public was there, and we went for a ride in King Kong's head. Now that was a double E or a double K ticket attraction.
Wow.
Oh, don't let Universal find that out. They never knew. I hope they don't find out. So, if you see this video or you read it in a book, don't call Universal.
I think the cat's out of the bag now, and oh yeah, they're calling us already. Yeah, and Treasure Island, Las Vegas, you did the sinking pirate ships. Oh, Universal's lawyers. He's just got to take this real quick.
You got to be kidding. UST legal department. I don't no lo comprende. Call back tomorrow.
Okay. Bye.
Man, how do they do this with communications today?
I don't know.
Good Lord.
They're just you know, watching all the time. I see little bubbles over there. Yeah, I think they're getting ready for the parade, so we better wrap this up. In closing, this is a tremendous book that you can have and enjoy for an entire lifetime. Hardcover, beautiful pictures. A lot of the pictures you've never seen before, because they're from Bob's private collection. So the name of the book once again?
Design Just for Fun.
Design Just for Fun.
And you can find that on bobgurr.com. Also, when you're there, you can sign up for the Bob Gurr newsletter, which will start early in November. We're going to tell stories that are not in the book, that are like little extras, little sidebars. Oh, cool. So only the people that know to go to bobgurr.com are going to find that out.
Wonderful. Well, that's something to look forward to, and look in on and kind of hear what's what's the inside scoop from the man.
Oh, speaking of inside scoops.
Oh, here we go.
We're going to go get some scoop. I know where the ice cream is, and that's where our next stop is.
Did you just rub my tummy?
Yes.
I got all warm and fuzzy there for a minute. Yeah. We got to go get some kind of celebrative sustenance.
Oh, I know what it is. It's a scoop of ice cream with Bombay Sapphire Gin across the top.
Yeah.
With an olive on the top.
Yeah, a monorail martini float is what you call that.
Yes.
Yeah, a monorail martini float. We are so there. So go to bobgurr.com and order the book. You won't be disappointed. It's going to be fantastic. Coming out in spring, early summer of 2012, right? When it's released. Special edition of 1,000 copies. Get your numbered copy from that first edition. You know, it's a little bit of money, $58.95, is that right? But you know, it's for the old guy, and you know he needs to buy like Depends and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know what you're saying.
You don't use those adult underwears,
no,
or
I thought you were a nice guy. But if this is the way you're going to be,
no, come on, Bob. I'm just kidding. Come on, I can't make a Depends joke.
I know where I'm going to go. I'm going back to 1968.
How about loose ends?
No, 1968.
Wow.
When it comes by again, you can come and see me then. See you around.
No. Okay. I guess he's not coming. Does this mean we're not going to have ice cream?